Good morning, Year 4s. This week on day 1 and 2, we're going to look at fractions. Today, we're going to identify equivalent fractions, write fractions in their simplest forms. Let's have a look at these fraction strips. How many quarters and eighths are the same as or equivalent to 1/2? You can see 1/2 has been marked here, and if you go up, you've got 2 quarters and 4 eighths. Did you get that right? 1/2 is equivalent to 2 quarters and 1/2 is equivalent to 4 eighths. Can you see the little sign? It's not an equal sign, it's 3 lines. Those 3 red lines sign means equivalent or the same as. Let's draw a pizza and then divide it into quarters. Now let's show some eighths. How many eighths are the same as 1/4? Do you remember the first quarter drawn here? That will be 2 eighths. How many eighths are the same as 3/4? So you've got 1/4, 2 quarters, 3 quarters. That's 6 eighths. Did you get that right? Fantastic. We're going to write at least 2 more fractions equivalent to 1/2 now. Here are some examples for you. 1/2. Look at the bit that matches above each one. How many tenths? How many sixths? And how many 20ths? Let's have a look and see if you got them right. 5 tenths, 3 sixths, and 10 20ths. What did you notice about these fractions? The numerator, that's the top of the fraction, is always half of the denominator. That's the bottom of the fraction. Now let's look at sixteenths. How many sixteenths do you think are equivalent to 1/2 and 1/4? Let's show them again on the strips. First of all, we're going to look at 1/2 and sixteenths together. 1/2 is equivalent to 8 sixteenths. Did you get that right? Brilliant. And now quarters. 1/4, 4 sixteenths. 1/4 is equivalent to 4 sixteenths. Let's have a look at our fraction rule. On the fraction rule, we've got a shaded 1, a shaded half, third, quarter, 1/5, 1/6, 1/7, 1/8, 1/9, 1/10, 1/11, and 1/12. Bit of a tongue twister for me there. What fraction can you see on the fraction rule that are equivalent to 1/2? So what we'd do is we would find a half, the line that marks half, and we would go all the way down and see where it matches. So you can see how many quarters it matches with, how many sixths. Doesn't match with sevenths because you can't cut this in half. It matches with eighths, doesn't match with ninths, it matches with tenths, and it matches with 12ths. 2 quarters, 3 sixths, 4 eighths, 5 tenths, and 6 twelfths are all equivalent to 1/2. Did you manage to get them all right? Well done. What do you notice about the numerator and denominator of all those fractions? The numerator is always half the denominator. Did you remember that from before? Brilliant. We can write 6 twelfths as 1/2. This is called writing the fraction in its simplest form. We can find a fraction's simplest form by dividing the numerator and the denominator by the same number. In this case, it'll be 6. What is the simplest equivalent fraction to 2 sixths? What can you divide both 2 and 6 by? That's right, it's 2. So 2 sixths is equivalent to 1/3. You could go back and check that on the fraction rule or on a fraction rule you've got for yourself if you need to. Simplest equivalent fraction of 6 eighths. What can you divide both 6 and 8 by? That's right, you can divide them both by 2. You can't divide them by 3 or anything higher because 6 divided by 3 is okay, but 8 divided by 3 doesn't work. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 3/4, that's 3 quarters. 6 eighths is equivalent to 3 quarters. Remember, it's 3 lines you've drawn for equivalent. Divide both the numerator and the denominator by 2. Back to our fraction rule. Let's see about a third. Let's find 1/3. And now we're going to draw our red line down the bottom, all the way through a third. And where it matches up, we're going to see what fractions are equivalent to 1/3. Have a look, speak them to the screen, and then we'll check if you're right. Let's see. 2/6, 3/9 and 4/12 are all equivalent to 1/3. Did you get them all? Excellent. What do you notice about the denominator and numerator of those fractions? It's not the same as the other one, but there is a pattern. This time the denominator is always 3 times bigger than the numerator. We can make fractions equivalent to 1/3 by multiplying the numerator and the denominator by the same number. Try it with 3/9. Multiply 3 and 9 by 2. What do you get? Try it with 4/12. Multiply 4 and 12 by 3. What about 1/3? Each of them multiplied by 9. Excellent. Now it's time to go to your worksheets for the day. You have got a mild and a hot worksheet just like this one. When you've done these, you can then move on to either an investigation or a little bit stuck. Bit stuck, you're going to need some colours to do some circling to match equivalent fractions. The investigation, you're going to need someone to join in with you for. If you don't feel like doing the investigation, or you're enjoying yourself so much you want to have a go at some more, I have also put in your folder some extra practice sheets. For this extra practice sheet, you've got a fraction rule to help you find the pairs below. And finally, another fractions equivalent for a half and a quarter. Choose 2 colours, draw circles around the fractions that are equivalent to a half in one colour, and draw squares around all the fractions that are equivalent to a quarter in another colour. Okay, now it's time for you to go and do your work. Have a great day.